been an EA in the doctoral program, for the doctoral programs, and he will be giving his first speech as icebreaker from his Competent Communicator Manual. It's entitled My Life, and he will be giving us a few minutes about where he's from and how he got here, and just some things in his life that he is passionate about, which include a little bit about his family members that he's closest to. And at the end of the speech, please feel free to stand and applaud after his icebreaker. Aaron, I'd like to welcome you up.
Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. As Tara said, I was going to talk about basically how I got from birth to here, as well as some things I'm passionate about in life, as well as some particular individuals that have meant a lot to me along the way. I'm from Florida. I was born in a city called Niceville, Florida in 1983, which is right across the bay from a popular tourist town called Destin. I went to Clue Elementary School in the same city, went to Runkle Middle School, and then on to Niceville High School to graduate. After graduation, I plan to attend the University of Florida and went in with high hopes of completing a history degree and then going on to law school, have big plans for myself. After about 10 months of partying, I tucked my tail between my legs and went home to Niceville, Florida, and moved back in with my parents. Basically started working over in Destin in the tourist industry where there's retail outlets, restaurants, and there's a busy season during the summer, slow time during the winter, but that was just what I was going to be doing for a while. My brother worked in the industry as well, so yeah, I had a lot of friends there and things of that nature. So after doing everything from hosting, dishwashing, busing, a little bit of bartending, waiting tables a while, making pretty good money. Got into about the age of 23, 24, making between 100 and 300 a day during the summer, and then unemployment checks during the winter. But finally got a job over at a place called Bud & Alley's, which is in Seaside, Florida. You guys have probably seen the movie The Truman Show, which is kind of set in a perfect town that they created for Jim Carrey. And it's a bunch of rich people that walk around with smiles and spend a lot of money on things that cost way too much money. So I was working half the hours I was before, making almost twice the amount of money. Saw a lot of famous people there. Had a great time. Basically, at this point, I felt like I had reached the pinnacle of the serving industry. And felt pretty good about that for a year. I saw the people that I worked there. I was actually the youngest person that worked there by 10 years. The people that worked there were basically professional servers. And not one of them looked happy. Not one of them treated me with any respect and didn't treat themselves with very much respect. So I kind of started thinking to myself that it might be time for me to consider getting back to college, pursuing different endeavors. And at that time, actually one of my best friends, Tyler Leibel, who's a guest today, he moved out to Phoenix with his fiancee, Jessie Holloway, and she started teaching. When he moved out here without a job or a bachelor at the time, I kind of thought, well, I don't know what he's going to do besides wait tables. And he called me and said, hey, I got a job at a healthcare staffing agency. He had his own business card. We were real proud of him. It sounded like he was really getting himself set up for success. And they have several different offices around the Southwest. And he called saying that they had an opening, and maybe I should look into it and I could come live with him. I had my doubts at first. Really liked the beach. Had my family and friends that I was used to. Really had my comfort zone in Florida. But my mother and grandfather weren't too proud of me at the time. I was living with my grandfather, and they were thinking, kind of been encouraging me for several years to try to move on. So they encouraged me to do a few phone interviews. After a few of these phone interviews, they invited me to fly out and do an in-person interview. Stayed for Tyler for a couple of days, went to work with him, did all that, and when I finally went to the airport to fly back home, they offered me the position. So now I knew my life was about to change. So I went home, quit my job at Bud & Alley's, flew out, started living with Tyler. They offered me a great opportunity, and started working in MGA Healthcare. My job was to recruit nurses and staff them temporarily at hospitals. Did that for a while, worked a lot of hours. It was a tough job. I probably wasn't really ready for it. The job did prepare me though for my future career. Bottom line is, I wasn't a great fit for them, and they started closing a few offices, and I was definitely one of the first ones let go. So once they let me go, I was thinking to myself, is it time to go back to Florida? Is it time for me to try something here? And they were gracious to say, hey, stay here, try to work it out here. We don't want you to go back home and continue on that path, which I'm forever thankful for. But so I started doing cell phone sales at a local store at the mall. That didn't really work out. They closed that store. And I was literally within a couple weeks of moving back home. And University of Phoenix called, and now I'm here very happy, and I enjoy all the benefits of working here. Second part, I want to talk about some of the things I'm passionate about, which are, I played soccer and tennis my entire life. I was good enough to be good in high school, not good enough to play at the University of Florida, that was for sure. But being from the Southeast, college football is a big thing. I know I've talked to you guys a little bit about my passion for that. So watching football, maybe have a cocktail or a beer during it is one of my favorite things to do. I watch all sports though. I really enjoy doing that. And I'm currently enrolled in a bachelor's program, so I do school and work and hoping to start exercising a little bit more in the future since it's been a while. Last thing I want to touch on is 4 people that are very important to my life, been very influential to me, would be my brother, Justin Furlong, my father, Clark Winston Furlong, my mother, Georgianne Furlong, as well as my grandfather, Joseph Richard Johnson. Brother always treated me like his best friend, brought me around his friends. He's 3 years older, made me feel like I was one of the cool kids always. Basically always my best friend, always supported me, never let anybody pick on me, and Vish was always there for me and forever in debt to him, and I always will be best friends with him. Mother, perfect housewife, perfect mother, always there for me, made my lunches, made sure my clothes were laid out, made sure I was taken care of. And I really didn't deserve much of the treatment she gave me, but I'm forever indebted to her, I feel, as well for that. My father coached my soccer teams, coached my tennis teams, coached my baseball teams, was at every event I was ever a part of, and also gives me great moral and career advice as well. My grandfather is particularly special to me because during that time in my life where I was really not performing up to standards, he always believed in me and always encouraged me and was always there for inspirational support as well. And I'm actually having this recorded for him right now, so I'll say I love you, Papa, and I appreciate you guys all for being a part of this speech. Thank you.
Wow.